So today I'm going to talk about a different way to buy customers. So the traditional way to buy customers, right, to grow a company is organically, and that can be through referrals from your existing customers. It can, of course, be online through advertising, which is very much what I'm accustomed to. Of course, there's also social media and audience building and so forth online. So paid, organic, but various channels. But there's a different way to build your customer base, if you will, and to acquire customers might be the best way to put it. So this other way to acquire customers is to buy them, but it's not to buy them with ads. It's to buy the companies that have the customers. And there are some interesting benefits to this. So now I'm sure there may also be drawbacks, but there's some interesting benefits. So number one, when you're attempting to acquire a customer from another company by competing with that company, of course, you're putting pressure on the market, right? More pressure on the market in general. So that's the kind of the uphill battle that new companies face typically in a marketplace where they're offering a service that's similar to existing services, right? Like they don't have a true novel product. And then generally they're competing in a more or less limited pool of clients. They're trying to get a bigger share of that pool. So what you have essentially is, if you had a dish with 10 marbles in it, and those marbles, those customers essentially are already spoken for by all the competition, then you as a new business are going in and trying to claim some of those marbles as your own. You're trying to claim those customers for your business, essentially taking them away from other companies. Now, you may say, well, you're not taking them away. Those people weren't customers of any of those businesses before. They're a new customer. Well, yes and no, right? So the existing clients' businesses are more or less based on that pipeline of new clients coming into the market too, right? So even though, yeah, you took a customer that didn't exist before, it affects the overall pool of what's available for the other clients, right? Now, I have zero problem with that as far as ethically. I mean, whoever can serve someone the best should win that client relationship. But the other way, the new way to acquire, or the different way to acquire a customer, is simply to buy the competitor, buy the competition, or buy the company that has that client, and you essentially buy the client with them. Now, of course, there's no guarantee the client will stay. Maybe if you make two changes that are too drastic after you bought the company, maybe they'll decide to leave. Maybe they'll just hear that it has a new owner, decide to leave. Who knows? Of course, you run some of the same risks probably with the employees, that they'll be like, oh, we like our owner currently, and if he's selling, we're not going to stay here. There could be some of that. But it's still interesting. It's so interesting to think about, you can either spend money to acquire a customer through advertising, or you can spend money and buy the business. So the really interesting thing about it is when you buy your competition, you're not putting more pressure on the market. You're not creating downward pressure on pricing. You're simply acquiring those customers without, if anything, you're removing pricing competition, because you and that competitor are no longer competitors. You're now one of the same company. And do I think massive monopolies are a good thing? No. While I do lean libertarian, what I have a problem with is if large companies get embedded with government in a way that protects them in ways they should not be protected. Do I believe you should break up a large company just because it's large? Yeah, I don't know. That kind of goes against my libertarian grain a little bit, to do it purely because they're large. But I do not believe that large companies should have protections that make it impossible for smaller companies to get a foothold. So anyway, side note there. But I do think it's just fascinating to think about the idea of buying customers by buying a business.